All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Over the Ridgeline. All right, what we're going to be going over today is we're going to be going over the final suspension setup on Renegade here. So come join me. I'll show you the measurements, where I'm at. So first off, I have the flat out suspension, front and rear, coilovers, and then I also have the HRG 3-inch ultimate lift kit spacer on the front, but no spacer on the back. All right. I also have the subframe drop for the front and the back. So that should give you an idea of how it's basically set up. I'm also running the Patagonia MTs, the Milestars, and the measurements for these, it's a 285/70/17. Give you an idea of the size of the tire. I do have the 1 1/4 inch spacer or adapter to a Jeep wheel, and the Jeep wheel is offset by -6. Okay, so that's what gives this look right here. Just so you guys are aware, right? Sticks out just a little bit, about an inch and a half, but that's the wheel and tire setup. As you know, if you've watched my other videos, especially the one traveling down from Alaska to here in St. George, I was having a lot of axle issues. So I've driven it about 2,000 miles-ish on this current setup, and it's working great. So what I have here is, I'm going to show you the distance of measuring on the threads, so you get an idea of where you may want to start. Anything above this I've found gives quite a bit of axle issues. There's also there was some vibration as well that I had that I was chasing for months, and I was able to find gotta love them bikes. But I was getting a crazy vibration. I shouldn't say crazy, it was just an annoying vibration that I couldn't pin down, and I thought it had to do with the suspension height, the axles, angles, and all of that. It actually wasn't, so stay tuned for that as well. So to get right into it, this is where we're at with the measurements. So, and this is going to be approximate, it's not going to be exact because I'm just going to be holding it right here. But this is 3.5, just, or maybe 3 9/16 threads to the lower perch for the spring. So somewhere right in there is where I have it. And then from the lower lock ring to the, I guess the upper lock ring to the lower lock ring, that is about 1.5 inches, or sorry, 1.25 inches. So about 1.25 inches there. And on the very bottom here, I have about 3/4 of the lower strut showing. About 1/4 inch of threads. I found that once this fully extends, once this is at full droop, this is about as far down as you want it. Otherwise, you're going to start getting pretty dang close to hitting your axle here. So I just left that there. If I did not have the spacer, up there, obviously that would not be down there. It'd be somewhere up in this area up here. This could all stay the same. All these measurements could stay the same, but the actual threads would be all the way up here. All right, so that's the front. Let's go back to the rear. So this is the driver's side rear. Obviously you can see there's no spacer here. I did raise this up quite a bit, but the measurement from the threads up top here, it's approximate, is going to be just about 3 1/4. So that's where I have that set, and there's no other rings or any other measurements, so that's where I have that set at, and it seems to be working really well. Axles are fine, and there's no binding back here, which is really nice. The reason I took off the spacers is because I wanted more travel and be able to get the alignment. When I had the spacer on there, they could not align the rear tires properly because the lift was too high. So, and lowering it as much as I could, I only had like this much travel in this coilover, right? In the shock, I only had like that much travel. So there's a 1.5 inch spacer in the back with that lift kit from HRG. I took that off, and then I rose the perch about 1.25 inches. So it did lower it about 1/4 inch, but it allowed the alignment to be done properly. It allowed it to be going straight down the road, because even with the adjustment or the adjustable tie rod ends, it still was not really able to be aligned completely. So I wanted to make sure that was done going down the road, because I do probably about 70% on road. Most of the off-roading stuff is here on the videos, and this is my daily, so I wanted to make sure that it was functioning the best way it could. Now that we're done with the rear, let's go ahead and check the clearance of the highest point, you could say, or the lowest point of the subframe. All right, so measuring from the ground here to this is 14 inches. When I originally had this done in one of my videos, you know, when I first put this on, I think it was at like 15 or 15 and a half. It was up there, but now it's almost dead set at 14, which realistically, for the things that I'm doing, plenty of clearance for me. All right, let's check out the front here. So looking at from the front, we're just gonna go to the driver's side here. So I do have the skid plate. Obviously that is part of the clearance, but for the sake of the suspension setup and things, I'm gonna give you the measurement to this right here on the subframe, because some of you might not have this skid plate. It's from Race Skids. I think it's quite nice. So measuring from the ground to there, just because it's a nice solid point, it's about 13 inches, almost right on 13 inches. This is on a slight hill, so it could vary, you know, an 1/8 inch or so. Nonetheless, the lowest point of that subframe is about 12 and a half, if you're looking at that. So where it comes in at stock at 8.2 inches of clearance or so, this is lifted about 4 1/4 inches, which to me, that's actually really good. I know some of it is tire, not all of it's going to be lift. Once we get these high or long travel axles though, yeah, this baby's gonna be going up. So that's the setup for Renegade here. I think it looks good. It performs well. Everything, the tire's clear. Obviously I did have to cut some things on there. Let me show you that real quick, and then I'll show you where that vibrating was coming from. But real quick, before I show you that, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. So we're at 800 right now in about 8 months. So if you guys could share it, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. We're trying to break 1,000 subs before January 1st. We have a little over a month to go. I appreciate all the support, guys. And let me show you what I did with the cutouts here. So what I did is I actually got some mining belt. One of my friends had some leftover rubber, and so when I cut into this, it cut into the subframe and such. And instead of welding a piece on here, I just put some of this rubber belt, which has some Kevlar in it, so it's pretty tough. I screwed it in with several screws. But then I also took some Flex Seal, that rubber spray, took some Flex Seal and sprayed this, gave it like 3 or 4 coats, came in through the door. Since this is cut as well, that foam isn't there, it goes right to the door. So I just opened the door and sprayed on the inside of here as well, and all along the bottom, down here. You know, so this is all sealed up real nicely now. No water's gonna be getting in there and ruining things, no debris, all of that. That's the setup. That's what I did for the wheel wells now that they're patched up. And one thing I like about it as well is that if those belts ever wear out, it's easy. Just go cut some more, screw them back in, you know, or whatever. I mean, you just spray some Flex Seal on it. It was great. So it actually doesn't look bad either. At least for me, it doesn't look bad. It's not like SEMA ready or anything by any means. It's definitely not show ready, but for my practicality, what I'm doing, it's great. I mean, I got zip ties and all sorts of redneck crap going on. All right, now this is something that I think a lot of people on these Ridgelines, that when they lift them, they get some vibration. I had vibration for a long time, and sometimes it was worse than others, and I could not pin it down. I thought it was a lift, I thought it was the tires, I thought maybe it was my adapters. There was once you change the ergonomics of the, I think that's the right word, of the setup from the factory, you know, you change that with the lift and suspension, there's a lot of things that you got to be chasing. Hopefully this eliminates a lot of your guys' concerns and a lot of the vibration from your stuff. All right, so looking at the driver's side right here, climbing under, look at that right there. See those spacers? I've never heard anybody putting spacers on the drive shaft on the carrier bearing. That eliminated everything. So the drive shaft is practically flat. Now I'm lifted 4.5 inches almost, you know, just over 4 inches. That's a 1-inch spacer I just got from Ace Hardware, and then just ran, you know, got some longer bolts, ran them in. Totally great. Haven't had any issues since then. So hopefully that will help you. If you're having any kind of vibration and you have lifted your vehicle, put one of those spacers on. And if you didn't go as high, you might only need a 1/2 inch spacer, right? But nonetheless, get something that will lower that for you. That way it will eliminate virtually all the vibrating. Well, that's my final suspension setup of Renegade. Something I did as well is I adjusted the dampening on the front and rear. I matched the front and rear. I put them at 12 clicks from soft. So there's 22 clicks, at least on my set, right? There's 22 clicks from 0 to hard, or I should say soft to hard or hard to soft. I dropped mine all the way to soft, and then turned it 12 clicks to the hard. So that way it slows the tire down, because there are bigger tires, slows the tire down a little bit, gives a little bit more rigidity there, but it's not too heavy to where it'll just be really stiff going down the road. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is what it has ended up looking like. I think I'm going to keep it here for quite some time until we get some longer travel axles. Then I'll definitely be raising it a little bit. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Enjoy your adventures. We're going to continue making videos. We're going to continue having a good time. Appreciate you guys' support. We'll talk to you on the next one. We'll see you.